It's Wednesday and you're watching FreightWaves Now. I'm your host Anthony Smith, and coming up we have Zach Strickland here with the carrier update brought to you by PowerFleet. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone and welcome to your Wednesday carrier update presented by PowerFleet. I'm Zach Strickland. So we're looking at our tender rejection rates for both van and reefer today. Van down here, reefer up here in the purple, and we see both of them coming back down. We're starting to contract a little bit. It's not falling rapidly by any means. We talked about this the week after Thanksgiving. We tend to see things come back online a little bit. Not a lot of changes though this week as both van and reefer continue to kind of hover. We're dropping slowly, maybe up 0.02 here, down 0.03 there, but not a lot of significant changes. You're not going to see a significant amount of change on the spot market in general, according to these rates. So capacity still about on par for both modes, where it was about early November, late October-ish in that period of time. Van, of course, not a lot of changes since Labor Day. Reefer, though, significantly, we have a little bit more volatility in the reefer segment than we do the van side due to the lack of participants and the, much more volatile sector, a lot more imbalance in those networks. So those rejection rates tend to swing a lot more than the van side. And we did get up close to 50% around Thanksgiving. Very impressive number for the reefer rejection rates. 1 out of every 2 loads almost being rejected on that segment so far. Looking at our volumes, so these are our tender volumes for both van and reefer volumes. We see that the van side, the van tender volumes really didn't fall that much. We came back down. You see that little spike there on the blue line for the van outbound tender volume index. That's really just a bunch of shippers pushing a bunch of freight, getting ready for the holiday. And that's a lot of those lead times surge in front of the holiday. So a lot of that freight didn't move till the week after Thanksgiving. And you really got to think about it like you're accounting for several days of activity compressed into 1 or 2 days right before Thanksgiving. So that tends to level out. And you can see that that line still on par with where we were the week before Thanksgiving break, as well as right here around Labor Day week, which again, one of the most active periods of the freight market this year. Both sides, not a lot of change there. However, the reefer tender volumes there in the orange, we do see a significant change. We dropped all the way back down to where we were in about mid-October and then way back in early September when things were not quite as active for the reefer market. So again, reefer volumes a little bit more volatile than the van side itself. Looking at spot rates for reefer, this is a heat map, tree map of the top 100 spot rates for reefer loads according to truckstop.com, 7-day moving average as of December 6th. Week over week changes. Anything in red here went down week over week, that little negative percentage number you see there. Anything in green, up week over week. So it's a very mixed bag in the market right now. And this is something we would normally expect to see in a very imbalanced market, high volumes in certain areas, very difficult to cover every single market out there. So some of the markets of interest, though, the side over here on your left side as you're viewing, these are going to be the largest or the highest rates. So it's positioned from high rate to low rate, and you have some of your backhaul reefer markets down there in the bottom right corner, and you have some of your head haul markets up here in the top left. Interesting to note, Los Angeles, a lot of Los Angeles showing up in red right here, as we have seen a little bit more stability on the West Coast. Not necessarily something we would expect to see at this point, especially considering that there is a ton of freight moving off of the ports of Los Angeles, Long Beach, taking up a lot of capacity, still a lot of freight moving off the West Coast out in Los Angeles. So, again, the smaller markets or the lower rate markets getting lower, higher rate markets getting higher at this point in time. Looking at the reefer rejection weekly change, we can see Los Angeles coming down, middle of the country, still a mixed bag there. A lot of rates coming up and some of those rates coming down. Looking at our produce out here on the West Coast, a lot of rates still elevated. We did not see a significant change this week versus last week, so they are still remaining extremely hot. Coming out of San Francisco, Fresno, and Los Angeles, all rates stayed where they were the week of Thanksgiving. So if you are hauling that produce out there off the West Coast, it's still going to be active. And that'll do it for today's carrier update.
The comprehensive logistics offerings from PowerFleet cover in-cab ELD, fleet management, trailer tracking, cargo monitoring, and tracking other assets such as chassis and intermodal containers. Power up your operations with PowerFleet.
And that's going to do it for this Wednesday edition of FreightWaves Now. But as always, you can check out all of our content on all your favorite streaming platforms, including Apple TV. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.